Story Chat with John Fornof, the art and passion of storytelling. Here's your host, Bryan Bullabush.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bryan Bullabush, and welcome to Story Chat, the art and inspiration of storytelling. I'm your host, Bryan Bullabush, and I said that, and I keep introducing myself twice on these things, 3 times if you count the intro. And this is John Fornof. Hello, John Fornof. How are you, John Fornof?
I'm doing great.
I got to make up for stuff right now.
No, not a problem. We really enjoy doing this with you, Bryan.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you. A lot of fun. Hope
really?
you guys are getting something out of this, because we enjoy doing this. Hope you enjoy it, because we're having a blast. Yeah. So hope you're getting something good.
So looking at the notes for this week is I will readily admit I'm not 100% sure on what you mean by feeding your brain good things for storytelling. So, and that is the topic of this week, is feeding your brain the right things for storytelling. Are we talking like omega pills for fish? Are we talking working out properly, trying not to be depressed? What are we talking about here, John?
Wow, those are good ones. Yeah, so it's the proper care and feeding of your creativity. And it is, the simple thing is, in computer world, it's like garbage in, garbage out, right? So you want to put good garbage in, or what do you put? I don't know what to get there, but anyway.
Quality content.
Yeah.
Is, I think,
oh, there we go. Yeah. What good stuff in, good stuff out. So whatever you put in your brain, it's going to come into your writing. Whatever you put into whatever you feed. So we're going to talk about some great ideas to help you to properly take care of your creativity, your creative brain here. Your brain is amazing. It's doing amazing things. And if you can properly care and feed your brain as it's coming with this creativity, you're gonna write some great stuff. And I'll give you an example, if I remember. All right.
May I refer you to the writer's block episode?
That's right. Oh, thank you. That's right. Okay.
Don't be fearful in going forward.
That's right.
Just say it.
I read the speaker's block. I go. All right. So, one thing. So hit me with a question. Go ahead and hit me. I mean, not too hard, but
Well, are we okay? So more specifically, we're talking creativity, and for one thing that speaks to me is like reading quality content, reading like maybe not just reading or discerning of what's quality and what's not. So you can still read a garbage book and go, that was a garbage book. I'm not going to do. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah. Okay. Here's a great phrase to take home with you. Okay. Great art inspires great art. That's kind of the crux of what we're talking about. The synopsis maybe is a better word. Is great art inspires great art. So yes, just what you're talking about. You can, there's something called inverse inspiration. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But a great art inspires great art. So I'm encouraging you as a creative person, listen to other creative people throughout the centuries. Listen to great music from the masters. Listen to Bach and listen to Beethoven, listen to Tchaikovsky, listen to Wagner, listen to whatever music you find there. And you'll find something in classical music like, I don't like classical music. Well, that's sort of like saying I don't like music, because there's such variety in music out there. But listen to the more traditional. Another way to do it, I listen to movie scores too.
I love movie scores. Movie scores is my jam.
Yes, especially as you're writing something, it's like, and she picked the flower, and the music goes, it's like, wow, that's epic. I love it. It's kind of everything sounds epic when you got a movie score when you're writing, right?
Sidetrack just a little bit. What's your favorite music to listen to while you're writing? Or do you listen to music while you're writing?
Oh, wow, I do. I listen to all kinds. And I've got, it's called Clear and Present Danger, because that's one of the, but I like, there's all kinds of them out there. I love Thomas Newman. I love,
Thomas Newman. That's the Pixar guy, right?
He's done a lot of stuff for Pixar, right? He did The Natural way back. And what else? That guy, Hans Zimmer.
I love these guys.
Oh, the Avengers theme. Love that. I love it. Just all kinds of, there's some cool stuff out there. And it'll take your writing to another level. So that's a way to kind of infuse creativity in what you're doing. So, all kinds of music. I can't remember them all. There's so many. And it's just like, it's a thrill when they come on, it's like on Pandora. So I just have.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, absolutely.
And I've also got something called David Tolk is my station. It's this guy that plays light. So when I'm doing like a sentimental, like a real quiet scene, a heartfelt scene, I'll play that station, and that's more like quiet meditative piano music, that kind of thing. It just kind of just makes kind of draws that out. So those two things I'll listen to.
But the listeners' miles may vary depending on, because I love heavy metal, I love classical, so it does make sense that you would listen to music that depends on the scene that you're writing.
Right, exactly. I've got a new comedy channel too. I've got comedy music, which is like real fun, whimsical kind of stuff. So we're talking about is music. It's like listen to great music, and there's something about classics. This is classic books, classic music, classic art. Why is it classic? There is a guy that wrote Casablanca. He wrote the original play. I think it's Everybody Comes to Rick's or something like that.
Wasn't it based on a book?
It's a book or a stage play or something like that. But this guy, I saw an interview with the guy that wrote it. I think his name's Murray. Guy named Murray wrote it. It's kind of funny. I think it was his name. We'll have to look all this up, guys. But anyway, he was asked, what makes a classic? And he said one word. He said truth. It's like, ooh. It's like, I took that one home. And it's like, yeah, truth. The truth transcends culture, transcends time, transcends geographical and cultural barriers. That kind of truth. You get truth when you that's what lasts the ages. Truth does. So listen to great music. Listen to great music that inspires you. Look at great art that does something for you. It does something to your soul, right? It's really feeding your soul is really what's it doing. Look at great sculpture. Read great books. It's especially for writers. Now you're getting into our own like writer to writer, right? But read great books, classic books. The classic. You'll see a classic lists out there. You see them out there, right? So read the classics. They're classics for a reason, and you're going to learn from the great masters of creativity, and that will inspire yours. This happened. There's a book. Here's a book. Now, is it backwards? I never did understand. You're reading this backwards, right?
It looks straight for me. I can fix that in post.
Okay.
But it is for our listening audience. It is called 75 Masterpieces Every Christian Should Know by
this. Oh yeah, that guy. This guy right here,
Terry Glaspie.
Thank you very much. Now, if you're not a Christian, you should not read this. No. If you're like a Buddhist or whatever, it's okay to read this. Okay. So it's not just Christians. Okay. It's like everybody, but the
understanding that it's coming from the Christian worldview, but that's by the by.
Right. Exactly. But the cool thing about it is like, here's a Gregorian chant. Okay. So it'll talk about music and it'll do a couple pages and talk about how do they come up, just a couple pages. And then what I do is my favorite thing to do every Sunday to feed my brain is I look at this book and I do it the next chapter. So here's one. I did one on T.S. Eliot. And so I dug into a lot of his. So what I do is after I read about him, kind of thing, and talked about his history and talked about his connection, his connection with his poetry or whatever. Then I go online and I look up their stuff. I look up their art. I listen to their music. I look at the movie that they're talking about, whatever it is in here. And what's cool is T.S. Eliot, when he wrote some poetry, and I'm reading his poetry, and it's stirring something with me. And guess what happened? I wrote a poem.
Oh, wow.
Right after I read this, like, oh, I feel something. And I wrote it based on T.S. Eliot. It's like he inspired me. So here's paintings, here's architecture, here's I should show you. This is a visual medium. We're doing audio and stuff, but it's like just amazing stuff in here. But the brothers, Passion of the Joan of Arc is a movie, that kind of stuff. Lord of the Rings, of course. So great art inspires great art because what it does is it does something to your soul. There's a proverb that says, "Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks." So this applies to you as a writer. Out of the abundance of your heart, the writer writes. Whatever you put into your heart, whatever you put into your soul, just around you, including people, by the way, people can suck away that kind of stuff too. But there are other people that impart, right? And so when you're around great art or people that are inspiring, it adds to you. And then you write from that overflow. So you're not writing from a cistern, you're writing from a river. And that will take your writing to a whole nother level.
Has there been any classics that now this isn't I really hope this doesn't turn into a reflection on you or a negative reflection on you is what I mean by that. Is there any classics is there any classics that you've read that you just don't like? Because my wife has told me she's read books like Moby Dick, where she just slogfest, because the first half of it is first like eighth of the book is story, and then the rest is about history of whaling in the Pacific or Atlantic. You can tell I've read the book, and then the last half is the rest of the story. That's legendary. But she hated it simply because of that slog. Is there any similar that you recognize? Yes, that's a classic, just not for me.
That'll happen. I was reading. It was on my classic list. It was Pride and Prejudice. I was reading.
Oh, you nailed mine.
Okay,
you nailed mine too.
Now, from a guy point of view, as a movie, like if Pride and Prejudice had just one fireball, okay, you know what? I'd be into
We're going to insult a lot of people here. We're sorry. It's just not our cup of tea.
Just blow up something for a guy. For a guy, there's something in, I don't know what it is about guys. We like things blowing up. I don't know why. I cannot explain it. But or car chase, a carriage chase would fit. You know, just something to kind of pick it up there, kind of blow it up here and there. Okay, that would do it something. But anyway, I'm reading through Pride and Prejudice, and it's like, I'm not getting into this. Way in my era, they talk about BFF. My best friend forever is like your best friend forever, and she's it's sort of like BFF. And then whenever a guy comes to town, it's like, ooh, I'm going to marry him. It's like, wow, getting to the bottom line there, guys. But anyway, I'm reading through all this. It feels like a soap opera, right? So I'm reading through it. It's like, here's my mindset. Wow, I'm not getting into this, but I know there's something in here somewhere. And then on page 236, I'm making that up. I don't know what page number it is. Some kind of page number. It was far into it.
You reached
all of a sudden, Jane Austen nailed me. Oh boy, she nailed me good. And she talked about, this is the premise of the book, and she realized that her pride blinded her. It's like, whoa. It hit my now. It's like, oh, how am I prideful? And how does that blind me from who a person really is? She had a prejudice. Her prejudice blinded her. Prejudice and her pride blinded her from seeing who Mr. Darcy really was. And it's like, wow. And that woke me up. So hang in there. If it's a slog fest, hang in there. You're going to get something out of it. And you know what? If you're 2/3 into it and you're not getting into it, just probably need to change. There's many other good books out there you'll get into. So there you go.
Yeah, and you don't want to exactly waste your time on, because time is valuable, which actually comes into my next. And I'm not saying you're wasting your time with Pride and Prejudice. That is not what I'm saying, dear listeners.
Oh, it was good. Hey, it turned it around for me. I became a fan. It's like after going through that. Yeah,
I consider it I could not stand Pride and Prejudice. I understand why people like it. It's just not for me, and that's fine. I absolutely
after that point that I told you about, I enjoyed it. So I had to get through there, but it's like, wow, this is
now
good
maybe
stuff.
I have to go back and read it.
There's a reason it's a classic.
Oh geez, now I forget what I was going to ask.
Speaking of time, you're talking about time.
Time. How much time is this? Something you passively look into, and I'm like in your free time, or do you consider this active towards your writing goals? So do you spend like 60% of your time writing, 40% of your time looking for inspiration, or is this more of a? How does that? I know I'm approaching that from a very formulaic aspect, but I'm approaching it from that aspect to have you understand what I'm asking more specifically.
So I don't have a down. I wish it was 40%. That'd be really nice. But I'm so grateful for the brain God gave me, because it functions on, I don't give it enough. And I'll admit that right before you guys. I mean, I read that book on Sundays when I can, and pretty consistently. But I don't really feed my brain like I really need to. I need to read more classics and watch more classic movies. Those are great ones. I need to do more, but my brain functions on very little that I give it. So I don't do 40%.
Yeah.
I don't know what percent I do, but at least do something at least once a week, something like that. And get around inspiring people too. People will inspire you. So great art inspires great art. Great people will inspire great art as well. Just people that are inspiring, people that and the time talking about the people that just like, they take you to another level. Dale Carnegie says, you want to leave somebody in a better place than when you found them. And when you're around people like that, they consciously want to help you in whatever way they can to encourage you, or just give you a smile, or make you laugh, or just be there for you. Just listen. Oh, there's another one. Listen. Make sure you're listening around you. And you can listen with your eyes. You can listen with your heart. Listening with your eyes, look at nature. Go out and explore nature. That's another great inspiration. And if you look, I looked at a rose petal today. And I got a lot of studying the rose. I got like really close and looked at it really closely, and I got a lot out of that. Just look at nature around you, all around you, in your backyard, or just take a walk in the woods, or just right around you, and you're going to learn something. It's going to teach you something.
Curiosity is a supreme virtue for the writer.
Yes. Oh, that's good. Write that down. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. I had an old professor at the school I went to. He talked about writing a script, and as creepy as this kind of sounds, in an odd way, he was on the bus or a cafeteria for the school. I don't remember which, but he heard two students talking, and he wrote down their conversation.
Yes.
Like, and it was something mundane, like dorms or something, but he wasn't writing it down for the content. He was writing it down for the dialogue.
The syntax,
on how they spoke. And I just love the fact that you, as soon as I said that, you knew the exact reason.
I know. Yes, exactly.
So even something like that, in which I've done, because I've been out in public and I've seen this guy with a trollish hat on, wielding this staff and having this sign, is like, that guy's a character. He's a character I could incorporate fairly easy. And you're starting on a very easy playing ground, because you're starting in the realm of truth, because it was something that existed.
Okay, now you brought up something fun. All right. No. So as a writer, this is so fun. You get to do this. Ready? As a writer, it's sort of like therapy. All right. So here's a phrase. I just read this just a couple of weeks ago. It's like, don't ever do anything bad to a writer.
I know where this is going.
You will find yourself all of a sudden in a movie or in a book or TV show. It's like, and they will nail you. Okay. But I have found this. I have discovered this. It's so cool. I had somebody that was just, was very toxic and atrocious and awful to me. So I put them in, they were the villain in my story I did. It was a Jonathan Park show I did. And so I started putting so you're inspired by people around you, good and bad. Put them in your story. But this is cool. As I'm writing the story, it's like, and they're just alpha. Oh, look what and I put actual phrases this person would say to me. Just really, I mean, they would go after me and just like, it's insults and just terrible things. Okay. So I put them in this story, and also put they're very intelligent person. So I put that intelligence in there. So it's interesting what happened. As I'm writing this story, and I'm writing about this person, this is good therapy, right? Putting the villain in my story, I started to, any good villain, you got to know how they got there. You don't want a villain that's just like, oh, I'm evil, twirling my mustache. There's a reason they got to. Now, in their world, they're not evil. In their world, everybody else is evil, and they're the good guy in their story, right? So flip it around, go around to their part of the story, and try to see it from their point of view. As I did that, it started to humanize that person. I started to see how they got there. And so I wrote that character as a sympathetic villain. Okay, so yes, they're a bad person. Yes, they did awful things to me, but I got to see, how did they get there? And I started to empathize with that. It's like, it was really interesting what happened. So there you go. You can write the people around you that inspire you, and the people that are mean to you, put them in your story and see what happens.
For me, or for other people out there that does run that risk of, did that person ever find out?
You write it in a way. Yeah, I wrote actual phrases this person would say to me, but I did not identify this person. So it was actually so the character in the book is a Jonathan Park episode, was a male, and the person that it was a female. So it's like you would not be able to tell this person. Gotcha. This person, if they listen, they're like, oh, I did say that. These are actual phrases. Now, by the way, some of the phrases they said were like, they're doing their own journey. And I put that in there, the struggle. So it humanized it. So Great art inspires great art.
I also
great
feel like
inspire.
as great as that is, I also feel like I should probably put the the disclaimer out there. I don't think that is a permission to add people you hate into your stories so you can brutally murder or harm them. That is not the goal of that. As
I don't mind, but
well,
not to be mean, but yeah.
mean, is there? I don't know. For me, that feels like you could take that too far.
Well, here's the thing. What you want? Remember, I talked about truth earlier. Oh, I want to talk about bite too. I'll talk about the BIT. We talk about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me talk about truth. If you are really going for truth, you will go wherever truth takes you, including places that might violate what you thought you believed. All right. So you thought you believed this, but as you explore it, you realize a deeper truth, a bigger truth, a capital T truth that trumps your little t truth. All right. And give you an example. I have no example. I'm trying to think this is a good place for an example. Yeah. But no, as you're writing truth, no, this is really cool. As you're writing and you write what's true, what's authentic, how did you, that person, that villain in your story, that's a human being with a heart. And something in their past abused them or messed them up. They're twisted. And so get to the truth of that. If you're not being true, you just want to make them a caricature and they're just a stereotype and they're just like, that's not true. What is true is there is a real human being here that needed love, and instead they got something else and it messed them up. And so that's why they mess up other people, right? So write what is true and go where it takes you. Be courageous. A lot of problems with, I like faith-based films. Okay. I don't want to disparage them because they've actually, the bar has been raised quite a bunch over the years, but a lot of faith-based films, they go for what they perceive as true, what sounds true, but it's not authentically true. It's like salvation scenes they have in there. It's like it's sort of like product placement for God. They have to put these. We got to put this part in here. We got to do this. It's like, well, is it true? If it's not true, you're telling a lie.
And that does make sense because you're talking about going to a dark place, and sometimes the truth is a very, 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 very dark place.
That's a lot of varies, and it is. Yeah. It is. Hey, look at if you have a chance. Whether you're, I like to respect our non-believers as well as our believers. So, but just as a non-believer, I encourage you take a look at Psalms. Psalms in the Bible, it's right there in the middle. Take a look at Psalms, and what I love about Psalms is it gets dark. I mean, in fact,
straight up depressing.
Sometimes I look at it, it's like that looks like bad PR for God. It's like, wow, it's like, God, where are you? I don't know where you are. It feels like you're far away. Like all the wicked people are getting all the goods and look at me. And it's like, but there's always a thread of hope in there. But it's so authentic. Now it's lasted for thousands of years. Why? It's true. So tap into what's true. Search for truth. I've got, there's a friend of mine. I'll just say he's a friend of mine, and he's a great guy. Love this guy. He's not a believer, but he says truth is my religion. And I said, you're onto something. Keep searching for truth. Keep searching for truth. You're gonna find something. So write what's true. All right, write what's true. Don't write what sounds good or you're trying to placate your audience or trying to do something. Write what's true and go where it takes you.
Here might be a dumb question.
I love dumb questions.
Why is truth so important?
That was a dumb question. No.
No, I mean, I get it.
I'm sorry, I had to do that.
No,
why is truth so important? Because if it's not true, it's cheesy. It's if it's not true, then it doesn't last. If it's not true, it's like there's no truth is a foundation you build on, and if it's not true, it's like it will fade out. Things that aren't true don't last. But things that are true last. So why is it important to get truth? Because it lasts. Also, when you tap into truth, when you're looking for truth, it does something to your heart, your soul, and it does something to somebody else's heart and soul as they're writing it. So you want it's authenticity. It's being real. It's being real, and including those dark places we talked about.
Now, going back a little bit towards the more healthy side of things.
Yeah.
One last question before we.
This is a lot of me. This is actually my therapy session with Bryan.
Well,
every time.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming alongside. Okay.
Yeah, he pays me for the psychiatry help. I was actually a psychiatrist. No, not a psychologist. That was my sister.
Okay.
So we're talking a lot about classics and learning from
the masters.
The masters. And I know earlier you talked about like cotton candy, popcorn, cheap entertainment, cheap inspiration. How do you discern something that one would consider a classic versus something that's flash in the pan? It was good, but it's forgettable.
Wonderful question. It's a great question. It is not a dumb question. It's a very good question. Look what it does to your soul.
It was a dumb question.
Okay.
I didn't qualify at that time.
Look what it does to your soul. Does it feed your soul? And sometimes classics, you might run into a classic so here's the thing. Good art inspires and adds to you. It adds something to you. Bad art steals from you. It takes your time. You ever sit through a movie, you got through it, it's like, I just wasted 2 hours of my life. All right.
Yes, I've done that multiple times.
Yes, bad art will steal from you. It will take your time. It'll take your energy, your emotional energy, etc. So you want to avoid bad art. Unless it's inverse inspiration. Just talk about. And I got to wrap up here. But great art will add something to your soul. Bad art will steal from it. Inverse inspiration. Sometimes you watch something that's so bad. I used to, when I was a kid, as a teenager. In his 20s, wherever I was, it was when I was younger. I was watching TV. I was watching these awful commercials, local commercials. They're just terrible. And it's like, I could do better than that, is what I thought. So that's inverse inspiration. Something that's so bad, it's like you're saying, I could do better than that. So that's called inverse inspiration. But for the most part, you want something that'll feed you.
Why do you think it steals from you?
Because it's not true. It will steal from your time. It will take you down a path that is not true. I remember watching a movie. I won't refer to what it was. It was just so awful. And it was, if you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about, because I don't want to even promote it at all. It was a wonderful movie about old time Hollywood. And it was like so lovely. It was like beautifully, the sets, everything was like, it was like 1960s Hollywood. It's like, it's a love note to Hollywood. And about these two characters, that kind of thing. It was really well done. Loved it. And then it got to this part where there's a villain, and everybody hates this villain because they murdered, in real life, they murdered an actress. And so the good guy pummels a girl, pummels her into the fireplace, into her face is like this. It just pummels her again and again. And it's like, around the audience, I hear people laughing. It's like something just went off the rails. Something is really sick here, really sick. So they went off the rail. They went off. They got off. It's no longer true. Now you've bought into a lie. The lie is, if somebody does something bad, they deserve to be pummeled like that, whether they're man or woman. And then he set her on fire, and it's just like, it was awful. Yeah. So it's like, what are we doing? It enraged me because it's not true. So look for what's true. What's true will add to you. So there we go.
So what's true? I think that what's the phrase? The truth shall set you free.
Yes, the truth will set you free. Lies will imprison you. And you're writing. Oh, this is good. As we wrap up, a lie, and the lie could be something like, for instance, you're stuck and you're writing. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a lie. But the truth will set you free. The truth. Always go for the truth, no matter where it takes you, and you'll bust through those things that are trying to stop you in your writing. And we talked about take a bite over life last time, but this is important for feeding your brain. Whatever is beautiful, take a bite over life. What is beautiful, inspiring, true, or excellent, dwell on those things that will inspire your writing, and properly care and feed your brain so you'll write great stuff.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of StoryChat. If you want to hear more, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions for John or feedback on the show, please email us at storychatwithjohn@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.